Welcome back to the Self Trust Solution Podcast. This season, we're exploring the turning points, the real before and after moment, where entrepreneurs and leaders stopped living from self doubt and started leading from self trust. And today's guest brings a kind of wisdom that is both grounded and otherworldly. Tricia Sybersma is the founder of HeartWorks, a transformational collaboration between humans, horses, and the intelligence of nature. As an artist, HeartMath Certified Trainer, and intuitive creator, she helps people reconnect with calm, coherence, and inner knowing through the remarkable healing art her horses create. And you heard that right, art that her horses create. But what makes Tricia's story so powerful is not just her work, it's the unfolding that happened before it. From feeling different as a highly sensitive young woman to navigating parenting while breaking generational patterns of scarcity to building a business around a vision people told her was impossible. Each chapter required a deeper level of listening, a deeper level of trusting, especially that quiet voice within, and a deeper level of allowing her heart to lead the way. Her journey is a reminder that sensitivity is not a deficit, intuition is not irrational, and purpose becomes clear when we stop waiting for permission. Tricia, welcome to the show. I am so grateful you're here.
Oh, thanks, Don. We could probably have a little competition of who's more grateful. I'm also grateful.
Oh, and we're going to hear more about everything that Tricia does in her book, which I had the pleasure of receiving. It is so beautiful. But let's go back to the before. We're going to call it the before self trust moment, right? When you look back, what did life feel like before you really started to trust yourself socially or as a parent or in business, whatever comes up for you?
Okay, it's really starts from childhood, oldest of four, tourist town, like an all season tourist town. So we had spring, summer, fall, winter sport in our tourist town. And my mom was a nurse. My dad worked in a factory there, but it was still not enough. Tourist towns tend to be a bit more expensive to live in, but that is where their jobs were. So we did live in subsidized housing, being the oldest of four, and with my parents working around childcare. Now we're going back a few decades. They arranged their shifts. My dad would work 8 to 5, and my mom worked 4 to midnight. And so the after school time was me. I had to help and take on the responsibility of my three siblings from after school to my dad. That combined with the lack of recreational resources meant I had to put sports and other activities on the back burner and do what I had to do. But after time, and I really believe it's human nature, there was some frustration. I was frustrated. But I was also a yes person. I don't know where that came from, but I was always the person that when I asked and would get no, not now, not this is gonna happen, I would always be like, what can we do part of it? Can we find a way? Can we just look at it from a bigger point of view? And interestingly enough, I got to the point where my dad lovingly told me that this attitude of mine was going to get me in trouble. And that really motivated me, actually. That was a real motivating factor in me because, again, I'm like, why? Why is asking these questions going to get me in trouble? And we'll come back to that because this continued into my school part of my life. Cut and paste was my favorite thing. Stories, favorite thing. And animals, oh my gosh, I loved them from the moment I arrived on the planet. And so my obvious choice of career was to be a vet. When I got into high school and had to take the more advanced levels of math, chemistry, all those subjects that would get me into university to be a vet student, it became very apparent that I didn't learn like everybody else. And I could understand the concepts instantly. However, if I had to spell the chemistry molecules and have to keep up with the pace of reading through the science textbooks and the English literature stories, I couldn't. And at that time, it was pretty cookie cutter. So it became very obvious that I wouldn't be able to go to university because I didn't have the marks. So again, there was frustration.
Where are we seeing the lack of self-trust?
When people around you start are saying a similar message, then of course I start to think, oh, is it me? Is it me? What's wrong with me?
Mm.
I'm not smart enough to follow my dream. And I'm not supported in a way where I can find a pathway to even experience part of my dreams. So it was a continuing of shutting down, so
Mm.
that really the only thing that was left was my inner world.
So you're
And
noticing that you're different, but
yeah.
then you're hearing from the external world or through the way the external world is set up in
Mhm.
the rules and the structure that it's not meant for you or it doesn't work for you and that your differences are now somehow wrong is what you're experiencing.
Oh, absolutely. It was
Yeah.
all my fault.
Oh,
It was all my fault. It was all, it wasn't like, how can we help you? It was figure it out. Something's wrong with you.
and you started to believe that.
Yes, but I fought it.
Mhm.
Yes, because that's what everybody was telling me. And so I had this mm, inner conflict that I'm sure at some point we all have that inner conflict. So that inner conflict of who they want me to be isn't me. And so then to start to turn off those inner voices, start to turn off the inner trust of what my own heart is telling me versus what the outside influences are telling me. So I shut down. I shut down. I was rebellious. I was just miserable, couldn't see a way out of the situation.
So what are you
And
doing at that point? So you're thinking, I want to be a vet. The system isn't set up for me the way that I am, I learn or my differences. So what are you doing? So what does the rebellion or the shutting down look like at that time?
mind you, I'm a late teenager. So it looked like partying, escaping, finding a way to numb all those sharp feelings of, is this it? Is this really what society is about? And just, yeah.
Yeah, shutting down and rebelling and numbing. I love all of those things are normal for when we're trying to find our way and it seems like there isn't one. So let me just create a different experience for myself, but not quite yet aligned with what you actually want. Yeah. So tell me what was or was there a moment or a series of them when you realized something had to change?
Yes. The first one was as soon as I was 12 years old, I took the babysitting course and started to babysit. So that was my first, wow, I can create my own resources. And so that was the first taste of that in some way we can find or we can take control back. And so with that money, I started funding my course experiences. Then the second one would have been, although I didn't land at veterinary school, I did interior decorating, cut and paste, worked perfectly, working with colors and textures and spaces and concepts. And so I went to school for interior decorating, and my first job was beside a college that offered equestrian programs. And so I was able to again fund some college level schooling, technical college level schooling of looking after horses and horsemanship and being with horses. They had horses on site. And then I found a partner who, in our own ways, we were in a similar situation. And so we were able to then empower each other. And that started a momentum towards going back inside and trusting ourselves. Now, there's a caveat here. So we developed a family unit. We actually then moved countries 30 years ago, cold call, and we had an opportunity to move to a totally different country in the Caribbean, where I am podcasting from today. And it everyone around us said, "Don't go, don't do it, don't go." And I said, "What's the worst thing that can happen?" And so we took 2 young children to a new country that we'd never been to, didn't know anyone in this country, and we started in another chapter of our life together. I was feeling pretty good about the way this chapter was going until my young teenage daughter was molested. And then I really had to dig in because it seemed at that point, everything that I had done, the whole self trust journey that I had been on came crashing down. How can this happen? And this is like an important message because we can really build our self trust. That doesn't make us invincible, right? Life still happens, lessons still happen, things still happen. But because I built that self trust, my navigation of that next chapter of trauma was different because then I had to go in and trust my mother's instincts to navigate the years that came next. And I navigated them very unconventionally because it was a very all encompassing situation. I promised myself and my child that I did not know the outcome, but I was going to learn everything I could about what was right in front of me. And while doing that, and of course, even though I was relying on my self trust, I was in a state of stress. So certain brain centers are shut down when you're in a state of stress. Everything I read just went in one ear and out the other until I came across HeartMath. And that's where HeartMath found me because everything I read from HeartMath stuck. And I realized later because HeartMath was speaking to my heart. HeartMath was speaking to that place in me that I was still holding on to, all the self trust that I built through my childhood, my school years, my early career, my early married life, navigating a new country. And that's where HeartMath spoke to. And it helped me understand that I could only navigate the situation as well as I could navigate my self trust. And so I dug into that.
Yeah. Tell us what heart math is for those that don't.
Yeah. So HeartMath it's a global platform. HeartMath Systems, HeartMath Institute. They teach coherence. And it's a beautiful story, a beautiful history. They teach coherence in the moment with your eyes open while things are happening. And the natural progression for me with HeartMath was to become a certified trainer, which I am. And their biggest clientele are people who work for NASA, military, hospitals, education, first responders, but it really is for everybody. And
But
it's
what is that moment of learning about? You just mentioned it as coherent. Tell
yes.
us what that in that moment, what you needed as you're navigating this experience with your daughter
Yeah.
and feeling the testing, the stretching of the self trust you had built. What is it? that clicked?
So coherence is heart brain alignment versus brain heart alignment. It's aligning your heart to your brain and then the rest of your body systems. And believe it or not, it is easy and available to do with just a shift in awareness.
What does that look like?
I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what to do. I'm scared. How could this have happened to me? I was a great mom. I was watching everything. How could this happen when I was the guilt, the fear, the unknown, the anger, all those feelings, and then feeling so helpless because we can't really help a person in trauma until they're ready to be helped. Versus and then that has a cascade of effects to our nervous system. The energy that we're radiating, everything changes when we're coming from that place of fear, frustration, and helplessness. And then totally switching that from a place of love. And I'm not talking about the Hallmark card fuzzy love. I'm talking about the energy of love.
Talk a little bit about that because certainly love wasn't missing from even that brain heart led of what did I do wrong? How can I fix this urgency? I think we can, all parents can relate to. You can have all of those fears and doubts. In fact, many times they're coming from thinking that you're somehow responsible, even though love is there and the main component. That's why you care so much. So, how does the love in the heart brain shift differ?
The first thing it does is it provides space. We can breathe. You can breathe again. And then the second thing it does is then starts to shift the cascade of parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system reactions. So heart rate slows down.
But tell us what happened for you.
As odd as it may sound, I started being grateful. There was a tree in our front yard, and I literally, some days, all I could do was hug that tree. And then decided to be grateful. I decided to look at this situation in gratitude.
What
That's
does it
hard,
look
I
like?
believe.
Give us an example of what would be a gratitude statement that you might have said internally or even externally.
She chose me to be her mom. And in gratitude for that opportunity, I am going to I'm going to be the witness of however this unfolds. I'm going to watch this, navigate this, and remember and learn.
And see what a gift it is to be the person that gets to be there for her. That's so
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
And then that opened up the possibility for me to accept each moment as a king. So those scary, fearful moments, again, I really did hang on to what is this showing me? How can I how can I give a sense of permission for that person, for anyone in front of us in that state to be exactly where they are right now?
Yeah. Instead of trying to wrangle it.
Because I'm also layering in what I knew about horses and working with rescued horses. And when you're dealing with a horse in that situation, you have to give them space to be in that place. They have to find their way out. And the more permission you give someone, it helps them to then be able to finally see a direction, see a light. It's like trying to throw a ring to someone who's drowning. and thrashing around in the water in a very serious situation, they often don't see the ring. They don't see the rope. They can't even comprehend that you're trying to help them.
Or they just don't think help is possible. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I love this because one, your curiosity that where it was shut down when you were younger, it hasn't left you and it's becoming more useful now and more or not useful isn't the word I want to use. It's more aligned and you're trusting that these questions one can be asked and without the force of an answer, but with true curiosity. And then also bringing in, so there's some full circles here, right? You're also bringing in your experience and your love with horses and seeing how it can all relate. Would you say this is the impetus to HeartWorks?
Yeah, definitely the strong foundation behind HeartWorks. I want to just a tiny bit of science, just tiny bit. In that moment of radiating gratitude from my heart, something happens that is more powerful than anything I could say or do in that moment. And that something that happens is I radiate a different energy. So that energy is what provides the space for the people, the room, whatever is happening around us to have space to shift without me saying a word. So it wasn't what I was saying because you can't say anything to anyone in trauma anyway because they can't hear you. They're just shut down. And it's not what I was doing because same thing. But by changing my energy to gratitude or unconditional love, any higher vibrational heart energy changes the room. And that is what I call one of our human superpowers. It changes the room for the people and if we work with animals, for animals.
Yeah. So let's talk about HeartWorks. So before launching this work, the vision probably felt pretty unconventional or even unbelievable. And it sounds like you actually had those words said to you or those sentiments shared with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what helped you to trust that inner message anyway?
Yeah. So, well, fast forward to a time there in the early 2020s when all went quiet, still involved with horses, deeply involved with horses, and still involved in my curiosities about how we work and how people work. Still developing a new level of self trust going into what am I going to do now in this chapter of my life. My horses actually told me, sitting on an airplane. And when these things happen, when you're in a place where you're definitely not, I was not thinking about my horses at all. I was watching people come into the airplane and put their stuff away and get all sorted out. And wham, they were there. This isn't the first time they've come to speak to me, but this was quite a catalytic message. And they said, okay, you want to help, you want us to help people, you travel, so it can't really be set on a particular location. So we'll do this. We're going to paint. We're going to paint art for people. And I'm like, that's great. People, animals already paint. So great. It's not a brand new thing. People may be aware of this happening. And they said, no, we're going to paint healing art for people. We're going to infuse the energies of our rescue stories and what we've overcome into the art. And when people interact with that art, whether they wear it, whether they look at it, whether they put a blanket on their couch, we will be there and we will hold them like they are part of the herd now. And they showed me how they were going to do it, the website was going to look like, and I wrote it all down on my phone. And then when we landed, I sent it to my two core people, my bar manager and my creative person, because I was already writing and had a website. And it was, yes, they didn't, yes, no sideways looks, no, are you sure? But I was, even without them, I would have done it, but they joined me. And because it was so strong and it was so loving and so caring and so doable, it was so doable that we embarked on the HeartWorks journey, and HeartWorks just made sense. It just was founded in heart and with their works of art. It was just the perfect name for it.
So what led you? You're on the plane, this vision comes to you. Is it like in thoughts? Is it visual for you? What is it? How do you see or hear that or experience it?
It's an all sensory experience. Mm. A great example of it is the movie The Holiday, where Cameron Diaz is a movie trailer. She makes movie trailers, and the movie trailers are narrating her life during this movie. It was really a full sensory. I heard it, I saw it in my inner vision, and I felt it. I felt the joy of it. And I could see them. I could feel them just around me. And almost, you're ready to hear this. It's time. This is what we're going to do.
It's like you were ready for it. And because you have this foundation of being in touch with yourself and have built at this point through the heart math and through your experiences, trust and this a closer, it sounds like, relationship with your inner wisdom and with your intuition.
Yeah, not everybody was supportive, though I had to really visit that self trust from a business lens. This is the first bigger business built from this place of self trust. And there was one particular moment where someone had friends hosted me in Florida to reveal this with not only some horsemanship trainers, but one of the, one of some of the people that came, one in particular trained dolphins. They trained dolphins internationally, and they came to this reveal. And towards the end, the person said to me, This is just all. This isn't real. This is nothing. Like you can't prove any of this that they told you, and that they wanted you to do all this with their paintings." And I had a choice. I had a choice in that moment, and I had to really dig into my self trust and stood in front of all these people, and I said, "You're right." I said, Everything is a choice, and I choose to believe that this is real. And so it is real for me. And you're invited to join me on the HeartWorks journey if it's real for you." When I was leaving, I was putting something in my car. Another dolphin trainer that was with her, but was also going to his car. He never said a word during the reveal gathering, but he turned to me and he pointed his finger at me and he said, "Don't let anyone stop you." And that's all he said. And he turned around and he kept going. And I so appreciated that he took the time in the moment to say that to me.
That's so good because here's the truth, right? That's in the middle of someone doubting you and someone giving you like an invitation or just approval or whatever, however you want to look at it. Not that you needed either one. And that's what I love about that, that you received both someone that tried to discredit your vision that led to your work and someone who is validating it, basically. And one feels better than the other, no doubt. And yet, when you're rooted in your own belief in what you're doing and you are making that choice to stand by it, neither is a reason to shake or soar. You are your own reason. And I love that.
Yes, we're visiting a lot of questions and topics I haven't visited for a long time. And I so appreciate the opportunity. And so I'm forming my my heart and my mind are busy going, "This is super cool. What are we learning here?" And what I'm hearing really strongly is the more we invest in self trust, no matter what the circumstances are. It seems obvious when things are challenging, even when things are really great. Our self trust is still vulnerable. Either end of the spectrum,
Yeah.
our self trust, because then we're almost tempted to give our power away. I got this. It's really good. Opportunities are flooding in. But that is just as a vulnerable place too, to lose that anchor to our self trust. So continuing to really, and it's a process, continuing to get to know, develop, and revisit and nurture and care for and love our self trust. Our self trust will be there to help us navigate these things that are coming up.
The highs and the lows. Really, self trust is creating a safe space. In my work, what I've done after all this research and coaching over 6,000 sessions, and I see that self trust really is creating a safe space to ride the highs and the lows. We're creating this internal safety so that when we receive the kudos or the criticisms, we can turn in and really reach for our own wisdom and our intuition. And so that's what my book, The Inner Room, is all about, right? Like, we live most of our life in the lobby noise, which there's nothing wrong with it. We're going to. That's where excitement happens. That's where our all or nothing thinking happens. It's either going to be terrible or it's going to be amazing, right? It's where people that we really admire and trust, their voices live, where the criticisms that we received have taken up residence sometimes a little too long. But as long as we make time to step into that inner room and know that it exists, and that's where we can nurture and build on our own inner safety, that rock that does carry us through the highs and lows. That's
I
what
have a little bit of a funny story. I think it's a funny story. As mentioned, we moved country. And for the longest time, I had these like two personas. I had my Canadian persona and I had a Caribbean persona. And they were a bit, they were, and it's funny how these things sneak out there. It's sneaky. And then all of a sudden I realized, like, why am I a different person when I'm grocery shopping in the Caribbean than I am when I'm grocery shopping in Canada? What is this division that's stuck up on me? What's happening here?
and what is it?
And
And what is it?
it was, I was giving my power away a little. I had lost trust. I had not expanded my self trust into locations. I was just using it to navigate situations. And then when I had this talk with myself, what are you doing? First of all, it's exhausting. Second of all, I don't feel good doing this. And I had to even figure out what I was doing. I just knew I felt off. I didn't know I had developed multiple personalities to do with where I was. And
Identity lag. Yeah.
it was so great because I was able to recognize that and say, you know what? I need to anchor into my self trust. No matter where I am, I'm anchored into me, whether I'm in Canada, whether I'm in England, whether I'm in the US, whether I'm in the Caribbean, whether I'm in Europe, whether I'm in Egypt. It doesn't, the space, it doesn't matter. I have to be anchored here. This is where my anchor is. And then I can have the conversation about where my self trust sits today.
Of course. I love that. It's so true. When we change circumstances, experiences, I see this a lot with entrepreneurs where they're doing the work, but their identity is still rooted in maybe being an employee or being someone who, has to rely on a steady paycheck or whatnot. It's these identity lags. You've already moved forward. You've already changed your location. You already are someone that lives in a different country who can choose and be courageous and be bold in so many ways. And sometimes it's easier to live into that new identity, but we hold on to the old one, which is why you feel the pull between when you're in different locations. And sometimes we don't quite see ourselves in that new space. And so we're still being drugged back by our old identity. So I like to think that those are less because your self trust is pretty strong at this point. It sounds like it's just giving yourself permission to see it as just who you are, no matter where you are, versus lacking it.
Yeah. And then the things that normally maybe would rock me off my self trust, they don't anymore.
Yeah. You've increased
Um,
your capacity for going there, right?
yeah.
Instead of it being something you have to go and find. You know it's there and you're increasing how much it is a part of your daily life. It's so beautiful. So your work blends animals, energy, art, and intuition. What can leaders and entrepreneurs learn from the quiet cues? Say they have these different parts of themselves, like you did, that maybe speaking to them, but they might be overlooking them as being a cohesive part of their next step.
Developing that self trust and really staying aware of how I want to be treated in the world, then transfers to how I treat others. There, as an entrepreneur or working in any business, working at anything, there's so many resources that are available to us when we come from a place of self trust. Because when we're in a business, we're really only as good as our people that surround us and support us, unless we're totally like individual and independent. But at some point, there is people around us, even people we're interviewing. And the more we're in touch with our self trust, then the more we are radiating the permission for the people around us to want to develop their self trust. And then what comes out of that is more ideas, more support, more creativity, more direction, more business savvy, more entrepreneurship. And so it's a way to not only empower our own dreams and businesses and directions, but we're creating this mini movement around us and it all sustains each other.
Yeah. So for anyone that might be in that there before season, like where they're doubting their gifts or questioning their path, what would you want them to know?
Sounds simple, but trust yourself. Really, be your own best friend. Be your own best friend. I'm also a big fan of Dr. Joe Dispenza, and I've been doing some abundant work with him. Abundance is not just money, abundance is health, abundance is time, abundance is creativity, abundance is really living life to the fullest. And I realized very painfully that I was so focused on empowering everybody's abundance around me that I forgot about my own. I had just put it on a shelf. I don't know when I put it on a shelf, it doesn't matter. But I really forgot about my own. And I physically felt tight around my diaphragm. And when I realized that, at first I had to start breathing again. So it doesn't matter where you are in the journey, you're always going to have these opportunities that come up, right? So this is an opportunity. Oh boy, okay, look at me. I don't even know when I stopped breathing. So I started breathing again and really revisited all the things that I know, but I had put it away for a while and realized that I can only empower other people's abundance to the level that I am empowering my own. I can only empower other people's self trust to the level that I'm empowering my own. It's so related, it's so connected. And trusting in the process, just in the process, the results will follow. But first, we have to trust in the process and just make those, be aware of those little choices and those little decisions and those little, I'm faced with a situation, I don't know what to feel. I'm going to just feel gratitude.
Mm. So you're telling them to fill themselves first, lean into the trust you already have, lean into the great things you're grateful for already, lean into your abundance. And You brought up something about offering or sparking abundance in others and then not giving it to yourself. I
Yeah.
actually just wrote a piece about abundance traps where we turn something so beautiful where it both fill us up and fill up others becomes this beautiful fountain. We start to shut it off. We're only giving and we're not giving it to ourselves or receiving. And we can actually use it in ways to stifle us. And part of that is checking in with yourself often. It really is being in touch with that tightness you felt around your diaphragm. Everyone's going to feel that misalignment differently. But if we're in tune to it, checking in regularly, we can start to make the shift so that we can still be a fountain instead of a drain.
And did I feel bad about that? Did I feel like, oh, gee, give my head a shake. I know better. No, how I myself tried to talk about it was, oh, I'm ready for another layer. And so when those things come up, I get curious. I don't get mad. I get curious. And then I look at it as an opportunity to see what is in that for me. And just going back to the beginning about self-trust when we're all younger, no matter what stage we are as we're traveling through this amazing life, when often working with self-trust causes us to go back and remember things like it did for me today. And to look at those times in our lives with care, with care, because no matter what all our unique stories are, it's brought us to this moment right now.
It all
And I
matters.
think, yeah, it all matters. And to look at it as caring, the inner child work, well, inner child care, just care for it. And
And it's like really seeing that we're constantly evolving and
yes,
growing and it's expanding and contracting actually. And those moments where we notice a next level of capacity to reach when we feel that tightening, it's not that anything's gone wrong. I often say some people think, oh, I've gone backwards. You haven't gone backwards. You can't. You're it's just an invitation. It's testing the boundaries of that increased capacity and you're ready for another level and you're ready to stretch again. So if you can go back to any earlier chapter, the young woman who felt out of place, the mother learning to trust her heart, or the entrepreneur wondering if anyone would believe in your vision, what would you tell her now?
I would tell her to be patient.
Mm.
Be patient. Do one, just do one little thing to move forward into the things that really make your heart sing.
Be
For
patient in
me,
your becoming. We are always becoming more of who we are and more of who we are meant to be always. Not that we're not who we are meant to be now. We're just always growing and expanding more into that, becoming more. Tricia, tell us real quick about what you do and how people can find you.
we have 10 animals that paint the healing art for people. And we call it the touch point of change and transformation. So not only are they beautiful, fun, meaningful products, like our socks are really fun, they're your encouragement. Well, we're changing, we're transforming, we're developing our self trust. Those are invisible things. And at HeartWorks, I'm wearing one of Gwen's scarves right now and drinking out of one of Giselle's coffee tumblers. They're the touch points. We're being held in a beautiful herd of horses, one dog and one cat, beautiful herd of barnyard animals who they're supporting me. They're supporting us. Animals are catalysts, right? People say they don't have a frontal lobe. I say because they don't need one. They're connected. They work as a collective. And so they
So
can
where
support
can
us.
people see this beautiful art and learn about how it can touch their hearts or the hearts of people that they love? I love you had this gift giving quiz. Talk about that.
Yeah. Yes. So we have our Christmas paintings are up. Our Christmas offerings are up on the website, which is heartworks.horse. And if you're not sure where to begin, there's a quiz that will identify the theme and the animal who painted the theme. And then there'll be the selection of items you can buy or purchase and invest in that theme, which are wearables and also things for your home, like pillows and blankets. So you can just surround yourself with that energy. We've also invested in scientific equipment. We actually test our products. So we're not just saying that our products have coherent healing energy. They do have, and we have the hertz for the people who want to see the numbers, we have that as well. And the animals are just so happy. They're just like, I can hear them. They're like, yeah, they're throwing us a lifeline. And they're saying, just enjoy it. Enjoy the patterns and textures and colors. They all have their own biopack on the website. So you can fall in love with a horse, fall in love with the painting, fall in love with an offering. It's all connected and they're here and ready to hold you in their herd and give you a big horsey hug.
Awesome. Okay. And you have a card you're going to pull for us today.
Yeah. So part of the offerings is a beautiful card deck that is inspired by their paintings. And so I'm just, without thinking, I am going to pull a card for the viewers, watchers, and listeners today. And here it is. It is actually called Challenge. And the tagline is Here for You. When you are ready to know me and love me as I am now, I am here for you. And I really feel that this is actually talking to our self trust right here. It was painted by Summer, who is our mini horse. She's the smallest horse in the herd. And I'll read it one more time. When you are ready to know me and love me as I am now, I am here for you.
Sounds like it's coming straight from your inner room. So,
Yeah.
Trisha, your story is such a beautiful reminder that self trust rarely arrives all at once. It unfolds, it deepens, and it expands through every chapter of who we're becoming. You've shown us that sensitivity can be a compass, intuition can be a strategy, and the quiet voice inside us is often the one that knows the way. Thank you for sharing not just what you've built, but who you've become in the process. I know listeners are going to feel seen, softened, and strengthened by your journey. So, for everyone listening, if Trisha's story awakens something in you, a nudge, a knowing, a quiet, this is for me, definitely go check out HeartWorks. We'll have all the links in the show notes. And I want to hear your self trust story too, if you have one. You can share your story at theselftrustcoach.com. And if you're ready to create your own, visit us there as well. And just reach out. We'll have notes and the show notes. We'll have links for you. So make sure you're subscribed. Season 3 is full of remarkable guests, just like Trisha. Thank you for listening, watching, and I'll see you next time inside the Self Trust Solution. Thank you, Trisha.
Thank you.